Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Amazing Mention 9502 from the Am I the A-Hole subreddit and says, Am I the arsehole? My dad got a tattoo in the style of our matching tattoo with his new family, and now I want to get mine covered. My father, 41 male, and my mother, 40 female, divorced 3 years ago. I live with my mother. My father remarried a year ago. His wife has 2 children, 18 female and 15 male. Me, 18 female, and my dad got a matching tattoo 2 years ago. It was a simple outline tattoo of a photo of us. After my dad got married, things started to get a bit more distance between us because he started to spend more time with his new family. Besides that, I think he doesn't want to see me around them. I don't know why. After all, I've never treated his wife or stepchildren bad. Yesterday, he refused to meet me on a weekend when we were supposed to spend time together, saying he was unavailable, and he reposted a story of him hanging out with his new family. While looking at the photo, I saw that he got a new tattoo on his arm. It was an outline tattoo of a photo of him with his new family, just like the tattoo he got with me. Now, I know that millions of people have these tattoos and it's not my original design. Still, I'm disappointed that he got a tattoo with his new family in the same style as ours because I always thought that tattoo was special between us. Now I'm thinking of getting it covered or removed. I called my dad in the evening and asked him why he was hanging out with his family instead of meeting me. He said they planned it earlier, which doesn't make sense because it was agreed in court after the divorce that I could spend time with my dad every weekend. So we planned it earlier is a pretty bullshit excuse. He also knows that I'm totally okay with spending time with his family. When I told him that, he said it's not that simple. I guess I'm too dumb to understand complicated things because he doesn't even try to explain it. Lol. Then I asked him why he got his new tattoo in the same style as ours. He said he didn't think it would be a problem for me. I told him, you broke something special between us. How can you not realize that? I think I'm going to get my tattoo covered. You can do the same. In result, he thinks I'm overreacting and I shouldn't be so selfish. My mum says what my dad did wasn't such a bad thing. She thinks we should sit down and talk. I'm not sure. Am I the arsehole? Edit, tomorrow I will try to talk to my dad face to face. I hope to discuss openly about whatever the issues are between us and find a way out. I don't think my mind will change about the tattoo, but I will not rush to get it covered. Thank you for your advice. If things go well, we'll also try to write an update. This is extremely sad and I can feel the pain in the words that was written by OP here. As for the tattoo, whilst I don't think, it's the overall problem here, I totally get why OP is upset because that was something special that to the both of them, and now it's just been cast aside because it just seems like, your dad has put in all of his time and energy into this new family and just taking you for granted, if you like. And he's just hurting you by doing so, which makes him the arsehole, obviously, and of course you're not. Whether you cover that tattoo or not, I would take a moment, of course, because obviously tattoos are pretty big events. I wanted to say they're permanent, but these days with, laser technology and stuff like that, they can be removed, but it takes a long time to do so and sometimes can still leave marks and things. But I would at least take a moment, to consider everything first. But OP does answer some questions that down in the comments. So someone says, how did you get a tattoo at 16? And isn't the mandatory visit court order not in place anymore? OP says, not all tattoo artists are very law-abiding. I turned 18 5 months ago, and of course the court order is no longer in force. This was our routine for 3 years. We didn't break it as soon as I became an adult, like, okay, bye. I just assumed that we hung out together on the weekends unless I was told otherwise. And there was some more information about how OP feels and what they did in the past. And they said, I never pushed him to meet every weekend for 3 years. When one of us had a reason, we didn't meet anyway or met another day. Still, if he's bored with this routine, I think he needs to tell me straight because it's heartbreaking when he just says he's busy and hangs out with his family and then just tells me it's not that simple. And no, it didn't take too much action to make up for the less attention he gave me after the marriage. There is no problem between him and my mum right now. They don't talk unless it's necessary, so I don't think he is moving away because of mum. It's also the saddest thing for me that he's enjoying his life to the fullest now that I'm of legal age. Maybe I'm speaking emotionally, but it means that I'm kind of prisoned for him. I don't want to think that he's spending time with me just because he has to. I will talk to him. If he wants to move on to a new chapter of his life and give me less scene, then he must say it clearly. Thank you so much. Someone asks, has there been any issues with the other 18-year-old now in your dad's family? How about your new stepmom? Opie says we haven't really spent enough time together to have an issue. His wife is generally kind to me, but I don't know if she thinks bad about me. Princess Looney says, not the arsehole, getting a tattoo in the same style could have been a cool idea if he'd talked to you first. That he didn't, then appeared to avoid you to hide it, shows that he knows it was shitty. Even if that wasn't the case, it's your body and you're allowed to tattoo whatever you want on it, including covering up a previous tattoo. But that also means you don't get to ask him to cover up his. You can hate it and tell him so, but you can't demand he change it. Dax Ashar says, not the arsehole. If your dad won't explain things to you, then he can't be surprised when you form your own conclusions. As for the tattoo, it's your body. I know I wouldn't be happy having a tattoo that made me feel bad. That being said, it might be worth seeing if you can sit down with your dad and your mum to see if you can get some clarity on his troubling behavior, to see if that changes how you feel about the tattoo cover-up. I'm mostly thinking about time and the cost and making sure you are very sure it is the right thing to do before spending the money on it. And then there was some comments suspecting it might be the new family pressuring him to have got this new family tattoo, but we're going to go to OP's update to find out what happened next. OP starts off. This morning we had breakfast together and a long talk. It turned out that the problem all this time was my stepsister. He told me that she was struggling with the whole marriage. The reason he got the tattoo was to show her that he loves her as much as he loves me. He also said that she didn't feel at ease around me, which I was really surprised about. We hadn't fought once and we hadn't even been together long enough to have any disagreements. That's why he didn't invite me that day. He wanted to be a good father figure in her life. Still, he said that I might get closer to my stepsister in time. Who knows when. He also said I can get my tattoo covered if I want, but he would never do that to his. For him, that tat still has the same special meaning. Honestly, it would really make me feel like an asshole to get mine covered while he keeps his. I'm not sure what to do. Lastly, the hardest thing for me was finding out that they were moving to another state. His wife got a better paying job and he's going to start a business with a friend there. He told me that he will be very busy with all the moving, but will spend as much time with me as possible until he moves. He also promised to visit me often after the move, which I don't think he'd be able to keep. I guess he's really moving into a part of his life where I'm not in it, and there's not much I can do about it. Thank you all. Gee whiz, what an incredibly sad update, and I'm sorry you're having to go through that, OP. Imagine telling her that you only got that tattoo to show the stepdaughter that you love her as much as your bio child, which you've known your whole life, yet you've only known this stepdaughter for what, two odd years maybe? And then when it got on to like moving to another state, his wife got a better paying job, and he told me he's going to be very busy with all the moving, but he'll spend as much time possible with you until he moves. Then he promised to visit often. Yeah, it just feels like a crumbling relationship, if you like, and I know it's horrible to say, but it just feels like this is his replacement family and he's moving on, which is just fucking awful. And there was lots of comments below that update thinking that the stepsister is just like a scapegoat or an excuse to justify his terrible choices. But what do you guys make of this situation? Lots of people, relating to that story as well, which again is just incredibly sad. But what's your thoughts on it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, and it's titled, Am I Wrong for Dumping a Kid's Lunch in the Trash Can? So my 25 female sister brought my daughter, 6 female, a bento box that cost $50. Before anybody get on here and trying to shit on why a 6-year-old needs a $50 lunchbox, it's not your money, so it doesn't matter. Thursday after school, my daughter came home, and while unpacking her backpack like I usually do, I noticed that her bento box was not in there. When I asked her where it was, she stated that a girl in the class named Audrey, fake name, had taken it and refused to give it back. I asked if she went to her teacher and she said yes, but her teacher told her it's just a lunchbox and it shouldn't matter. Now Audrey's name isn't new to my household. She and other girls always picked on my daughter, and no matter how many times I went to school about it, nothing was done. To say I was pissed was the least. The next day I went to school 30 minutes before lunchtime and requested a meeting with the teacher and the principal. They brought my daughter down and I explained the situation and they had someone get Audrey. Audrey brought the lunchbox to prove that it was hers, but I asked them to open the lunchbox because my daughter's name was on the inside. And lo and behold, she opened it and there was my daughter's name, as clear as day. When I requested she give it back to my daughter, she began crying. The teacher asked if it would be okay if Audrey kept it for the day, since her food was already in there, and I said hell no, and they had 5 minutes to find something else to put her food in or I'd be dumping it out. Instead of finding her a closed container, they began arguing with me, so I stood up and grabbed the bento box, and in front of them all, I threw the food out into the trash can. Grabbing my daughter's hand, I walked out of the office with their bento box, leaving them to comfort the crying girl. Hours later, I told my sister what happened, and she said that even though I had the right to be mad, I could have just let her have it. She would have bought my daughter another bento box. I feel like it's the principal though. Why should we have to buy something again for my daughter that she already had because some entitled kid wanted what's hers? Am I wrong? I was trying to cast my mind from Audrey's perspective, the one who took the lunchbox and took it home. And I was wondering what the parents were thinking. Did they just okay this? This little girl came back with a brand new lunchbox and like the parents were just like, yeah, we'll fill that up for the next day. What the fuck? And I can totally get why OP was totally pissed off. I'm always like trying to think of, is there a better solution in this matter? But you went to the principal's office and they just tried to downplay the situation. They tried to let her get away with it. Let her take the lunchbox just for the day. Are you kidding me? This 6-year-old was going to be allowed to get away with stealing someone else's lunchbox and taking it home. And, was going to cry her way out of it. And the teacher, the principal, and anyone else who was enabling that kind of behavior is not helping that girl for the future. And I understand there's a lot of red tape around teachers and what they can and can't do, but they could have definitely handled this 100% better than the way they did. I still can't help but think what the bloody hell the parents were thinking. They must be absolute arseholes to see their child come home with stolen goods and then think, yeah, we'll fill that up. Gee whiz. But OP edited the post and said, I'm seeing I should have just taken the food out of the box, and I'm realizing that none of you all know what a bento box is. I'm unsure how to add a picture of it, so please just go Google it. You put actual food in there, not packaged. That's the best way I can explain it. For example, if my daughter wanted soup, I put soup in there and it would stay warm all day. Now, I've got to be honest, I thought a bento box was just a packed lunch box, so I'll find a quick picture so I can put it up right now. And there was lots of pictures on there of lots of different foods in these boxes, so hopefully I got the right one there. But Edit 2 says, this is more of an explanation because I can't answer all of your guys' questions. 1. Audrey did not starve. I did not leave her without a lunch. The school offers free lunches. 2. She can afford her own damn bento box. We live in DFW in a fairly high class neighborhood. That's all I'm going to say. She took my daughter's bento because she's a bully. 3. I've went to the school board and principal plenty of times where they would say it was being handled when in fact nothing was being handled. 4. I don't care if I have to act childish. For my kid I would do anything. A lot of y'all are not parents and it shows. 5. My daughter will be switching schools at the end of the semester. Oh, someone did ask the comment. I had a quick look and said, what the fuck? The mum sent Audrey's lunch in a lunchbox she knew wasn't hers. I hope he said her mum doesn't and didn't care. I went to her multiple times over the bullying and was told, kids will be kids. When I got the box home and examined it, you can tell that someone had tried to wash away the sticker of my daughter's name off. That's why I'm assuming that the parents knew, unless a little girl did it, which I doubt. People were asking OP what they had done regarding the bullying, and OP says, I've done everything I can for the bullying. I even went to the girl's parents and school board, and it was kids will be kids. Unfortunately, because of where our house is, there's only 2 other elementary schools in our district, and the other school has a waiting list which we are on. She won't be able to transfer until next semester. One thing I'm going to do is protect my daughter. As for Audrey, she's been steering clear of my daughter. The OP does update the post, and they said, this is the last update and I'm done addressing the comments. A lot of y'all are saying that I should have just let Audrey have the bento box since my sister offered to buy another one, and I just don't agree at all. You want me to reward a child who made it a habit to verbally and physically attack my child by letting her have something that belongs to my daughter, and that's not okay with me. She's just a kid. Your problem is with the school, not her. No, my problem is with the school, teacher, her parents, and her. You all want me to enable this little girl so bad, and I'm not. You'll think just because she's a kid, she doesn't know what she's doing, and that's crazy to me. Why didn't you just dump the food on the desk? What would have been the difference? If I dumped the food on the desk, she still would not have been able to eat it because the desk is just as dirty. You all should call CPS. That's not my job. That's the school's job, and they obviously won't be doing that because they are a bunch of kiss asses. I really appreciate your guys' comments and reaching out privately about homeschooling, but that is not anyone's decision but mine and my husband. For those calling me entitled, how am I entitled for wanting back what was bought for my kid? I feel like a lot of y'all are trolling by saying that. The last update got deleted, I think, so here it is again. My daughter has not had problems with Audrey since. I've attempted to speak with her mother to settle things, but she is insufferable as it gets. The principal did offer me a very sincere apology for my daughter's homeroom class, which was switched, so she has a new teacher that she loves. Everything happened last week, but I decided to post yesterday because of my sister. If I do offer another update, it'll be sometime next year since she'll be switching to homeschool. Thank you to everyone who offered me great advice, and for those who did not agree but offer me an alternative, thank you as well. Also, please stop saying my sister doesn't care for her niece. She adores my daughter, and they are closer than anything. My sister just has a super soft spot for kids. For those who called my daughter a bitch and a see next Tuesday, you can bend down and suck the shit out of the nastiest ass walking the streets near you. Bloody hell, who's doing that? So people on Reddit, they was like, questioning the homeschool option, saying your daughter won't have any socialization. OP said the school she'll be going to next semester is over a computer, and she's actually enrolled in multiple activities that are outside of the school. This is also something me and her father have spoken to her about, and it's something she wants to try. I also work from home and I'm off camera 90% of the time, so it really won't be affecting me. I do appreciate and understand where the worry is coming from though. I wish I could pin this comment because I've been getting this question a lot, and I was trying to avoid answering it because no matter what I say, people will still judge. Lol. And I kind of feel, OP he went down the right path to try and make things work. They went to the principal, they went to the teacher, and they tried to explain the situation. And then they was told, it's just a lunchbox, sort of get over it kind of thing. And can she just have it for the one day? I can absolutely understand why OP would be pissed off in that situation. And it sounded like there was a hell of a lot more going on in the background with the parents of this child as well, and they don't seem to give much of a shit by the sounds of it. I remember the one time in high school when, I was getting bullied at school and stuff. And it was only the one time I went to the headmaster because basically a friend of mine had seen that I was getting bullied. I didn't really tell many people about it. I obviously didn't tell my family about it because I was too worried and things. But my best friend at the time saw it and he told his mum, and his mum phoned the school. And then I had to have a meeting with the head teacher or principal, if you like. And this headmaster already had the name of my bullies. And he sort of said, do you want to tell me what's going on? And I sort of said how they were picking on me and stuff like that. They waited for me after school, all sorts of stuff. And I can remember the feeling of absolute shit in myself at this time, because I thought if he gets wind of that, I'm grassing him up, I'm going to get in the shit here. I was really reluctant to give over this information, but I felt like, this is the headmaster. I need to say something, otherwise I'm going to get in trouble myself. And I'll never forget the words that came out of his mouth that day. And it just, as soon as he said it, I just felt like my insides all dropped to my feet. He turned around and said to me, oh, but we got to understand, they both have troubled home lives. And it was in that moment I knew I was fucked. And I don't think this guy got expelled or anything, got sort of suspended or expelled at all throughout high school. This guy, the same guy that would turn on the gas tap and then light it and it would be like a fucking flamethrower across the room, would light paper airplanes on fire and throw them across the room. He wouldn't singe someone's hair right next to me. I think it was from that moment, because they discovered what was going on and nothing was going to happen to them, is when I started sneaking out during the mornings. I'd slip out through the bars and just disappear for the day, come back at lunchtime and re-register, then slip off again. And I've talked about this story in the past, and I get people saying, oh no, you should have stood up for yourself, you should have punched him in the face. And believe me, I wanted to. There were so many times that I just wanted to, but there's always some worrying in my head that was going on at the time. If I do that, will the police get involved? If my brother finds out, he'll probably turn up and kill the guy and he'll end up in prison. All sorts of worries that was going on in my head. And no, I don't think I did handle it in the best way. I don't know what the best way was at that time, but my mindset certainly wasn't dealing with that at the time. There's a real complicated situation. I know it probably sounds really easy listening to it. I was very introverted, very shy. I still am that way. You wouldn't believe it, the amount I fucking talk on here, right? Anyway, as usual, I've gone off on one. I do apologize. If you do love today's stories, please consider, leaving a comment, clicking that like button, getting involved down below, sharing your love with one another. I always absolutely love to see it. A huge thank you for spending your time with me today, getting involved in the stories. You're absolutely amazing for doing so. Thank you very, very much. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.